You want to talk about macOS?
I think we should. I think we should finally rip macOS. I feel like I told you before we started, the amount of iPadOS that I've been talking about and just consuming, I'm a little tired of it. So let's move on to macOS, you know? Let's see what we got going on over there.
Yeah.
I know we're in beta 2 right now.
Yep. And so there's a big redesign, obviously, with macOS. I'm using it right now.
Same.
This episode of 9 to 5 Mac Overtime is sponsored by our friends at Bitwarden. Stay tuned. We'll have more about them in just a bit. For better or for worse, I am using macOS right now. And it's not as drastic of a change as iOS. Like, it still has some of the liquid glass and stuff like that, obviously. The dock is definitely one of those areas where you notice the change. Get that nice refraction of light and things like that when you move stuff behind the dock. There's also some nice stuff with the toolbars, transparency and stuff like that. So there's quite a bit of transparency in macOS, but it's not to the degree of iOS at all.
I agree. Yeah.
So that's, could be a good thing depending on how you view the iOS redesign. But
yeah, it's not like as in your face, like you said. Like if you just look at the desktop, it all kind of just looks familiar. The dock is still where it's supposed to be. The icons look a little different, sure, but they don't even have to be. I think by default, it kind of sticks to what you were doing before, which I had the dark icons on. So it didn't really look that different. The only thing that kind of confused me in the beginning was that on the taskbar, toolbar, all the way at the top, the like line, the differentiator is gone, like that little break.
The menu bar, yeah.
The menu bar is, so the icons are still there, but they're kind of just like floating at the top.
Yeah.
Took me a second to get used to it.
So that threw you off? Was that was
on the top right part where all my little tools are? Yeah, I don't know why.
That's interesting.
But I got used to it in like an hour or two. But I was like, oh, there's no break anymore.
So basically, it's a full bleed wallpaper. So the wallpaper goes from top to bottom, and there's no delineator mark between the menu
page
bar.
break.
Yeah, there's no line for the menu bar. However, in beta 2, they brought back the option to re-enable that. So if you do want a line that marks off the menu bar and the wallpaper doesn't bleed into that, then you can bring that back. Which is,
you're so right. I didn't even know that. I'm in my menu bar right now, my settings.
Yeah, so here's the thing, like, I don't know. I feel like Apple, if they were going to go this route, just own it, man. Like, just force it. Don't give us the option to go back.
Same with in similar light. Just real quick with the control center on iOS. You know, everybody with beta 1 was like, "Oh, it's not it's too transparent. Like it's getting confusing." Blah blah blah. So then they added a little bit more blur. I think they should have just stuck to their guns. It looks less liquid glassy now.
Oh, for
in my opinion.
Now,
you can, maybe the contrast is a little bit better for most. I mean, I was fine with the first version of it. I thought it was cool.
I'm kind of on the fence there. Like, I do think they went too far. I think they went too far. Like, they overcorrected basically.
Okay.
Because if you look at the notification center compared to that, like swipe down notification center, it is super still glassy, right? Like and it looks really cool.
Agreed.
But I don't know. I feel like they could increase the contrast or decrease the transparency on just the notifications and still like be able to pull the effect off a little bit. Because there is more increased contrast on notifications. But yeah, I don't know. It's just it's a hard thing to pull off when you're talking about readability, because ultimately the whole point is to be able to read what's on the screen. If you can't do that, then
it doesn't matter how cool it looks. It's kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, so legibility is definitely up there. I feel like, I don't know. Like, I guess the whole thing, here's my issue, okay? So the notification center, I digress here, but the notification center, like if you swipe down from the upper left on the iOS slowly, and you keep your finger on the screen as you swipe down. Don't just swipe down and let the thing appear, but just slowly swipe it down. You see that liquid glass effect really prominently, right?
It's really cool.
And then once it gets to the bottom of the screen, all it just shows the background wallpaper.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy to read. So I don't know. That feels like a nice compromise. But
yeah, they should do
if
that
you-
with Control Center, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm getting at. Like,
Yeah.
why does Control Center immediately like just like I don't
Like
know.
it opens and keeps all the background apps there. Like this is the first time you pointing this out is the first time I'm noticing this difference. Because I noticed that the liquid glass, when you pull it down slowly, because I was playing with that, you do have the cool refractions and, the physics of it all. But I didn't realize that it all disappears.
Yeah. It disappears when you get to the bottom.
Went to the bottom, yeah.
But the notification center doesn't do that at all. It's just like
The Control Center doesn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, the control center. It's like the icons are still there in the background, but they're completely blurred out, and it immediately shows that view. Whereas notification center doesn't do that. I don't know. It's just kind of a inconsistency, I guess you could say. But I'm sure they'll work that out. But back to the menu bar,
Mac.
like that
Yeah.
is a big deal. Like menu bar is one of the flagship features of the Mac. It's one of the things that makes the Mac, and it's the reason why iPad OS adopted sort of a menu bar system because it's just that handy. But I don't know. I'm kind of like the transparency. I think they should have just owned that and not gave in on that, because I don't think that's a huge deal personally. But
No, you get used to it right away. And like you said, it feels like it is bleeding over the edge. So it just feels like your screen, the bezels just got smaller. You know what I mean? Or like the bezels are now non-existent. So it makes it feel like it's real edge to edge. But overall, I like the design. I think the best form of it right now, if you're kind of comparing all the betas and how they readability and legibility and all that, I think macOS did it best. Added enough where it feels a little different, but there's no like consequence of it all right now. Unless you have a different story. Well, no, we're not going to talk about the function. Just a look. I'm talking look.
yeah, okay. Well, we're not going to talk because it's beta.
Yeah, install at your own risk.
I definitely
we're not talking
would not
function.
recommend, if it's like your working production machine, I would not recommend upgrading to macOS right now.
I do
Obviously,
know that. Yeah.
don't do that. Yeah, but that being said, the Control Center also got a massive redesign in macOS. So before, Control Center was sort of like this tacked on. It just didn't feel as useful, I guess. It wasn't very customizable at all. But now it's very much like iOS, where you can go in, you can edit the Control Center right from the Control Center. There's a new Control Center like picker where you can choose all the various controls you can add. There's a lot of shortcuts and stuff in there. There's tons of controls to do all sorts of things. For instance, I think I set mine up to, let me see, pull this up here. Yeah, so I have like all sorts of little cool things in here to enable mission control to automatically hide or show the dock. Like I can click a button and enable those features. Cool. There's all sorts of controls you can go in there and edit, and you can have multiple pages of controls as well, each to their individual menu bar icons. So like you can have a page dedicated to just home shortcuts if you want, and then you can have another page dedicated to other types of shortcuts. So it's pretty neat.
And you can also drag. So I was playing with it. I think you can drag not only the icons into the Control Center, but I think you can drag them into the menu bar.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. So
you have like
bar
two
and
ways to
Control
access
Center
them.
they sort of like one.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And actually, Apple got rid of the Control Center settings panel and just calls it menu bar in the settings. So that's another little change that they added there. But here's another thing that's really, we've been wanting this for menu bar, the ability to disallow third-party application icons in there, which is a nice feature to be able to have that, because there were some very stubborn third-party app icons or menu bar icons that sometimes you just couldn't get rid of.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
The
So
worst.
now you can hide those for sure, and they won't appear. So that's a really nice feature to have.
Do you have a lot of stuff going on up there?
I do not.
Okay.
I've
Yeah, I keep
never
it pretty
been
clean,
somebody
too.
who I don't like messy. I don't like a lot of mess. So
Yeah.
I tend to keep it pretty clean. There was one application I used to use, a utility. It was called Bartender, and it was a tool that allowed you to like basically nest menu bar icons inside of another icon. So
Okay.
if you had a lot of them, it could make it not as
Kind of like group them together or something?
Yeah.
Okay,
pretty
okay.
much.
That makes sense.
But I kind of feel like this how this is now, sort of to a degree. Like that's kind of what we have now, because now you have, I mean, it sort of Sherlock's that a little bit, because now
Yeah.
you have individual menu bar control center icons you can click and then group various controls in there. So that's kind of actually, now I think about it, sort of Sherlock's Bartender a little bit.
No, that makes sense. And I mean, it seems like, speaking of Sherlocking, a good little segue into Spotlight, I think. Because I know that you, among other people, again, I'm not a big Mac user, so I live in the iPad world, but I know that there was another application or software that you could, to replace the old Spotlight to just make it more intuitive, right?
There's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, there's a few of them.
Alfred.
Alfred was the one that I've heard a lot, yeah. And now Apple kind of just like took that, you know?
Kind of, yeah.
To an extent. They added like maybe not all the functionality, but they definitely added some of it, right?
They added
into
some
the
of it.
Spotlight.
Yeah. I
So
mean, it's
what do you think of
free.
that move?
I think it's cool. That's a long time coming. This is a massive update to Spotlight search. Like,
Yeah.
that can't be understated. So first and foremost, like when you open Spotlight, and you
The
move
UI
your
is cool.
cursor, yeah, the new UI is really cool. So you move your cursor when Spotlight's open, and then it shows these 4 little buttons to the right of it for applications, files, actions, and Clipboard. And all these can be assigned to a shortcut. Like command 1 is applications, command 2 files, etc. What's also interesting is that Apple got rid of Launchpad and they incorporated it into Spotlight. So basically, the first, like the applications portion of Spotlight is now the Launchpad. So you'll actually see a new button in the dock that's specifically for that, like Launchpad used to be, but now it's here. So
They basically brought the app library over from iOS and
basically,
iPadOS.
exactly.
Yeah.
The thing I don't like about this though is with Launchpad you could customize, like you could arrange
Yeah.
icons and stuff. You can't do that in App Library, and you can't do that here. So it's
Yeah, no,
sort of
they-
a step backwards in a little ways.
I know. I mean, I didn't really use Launchpad too much. I was a big Spotlight. Like, I would just Spotlight search the app I needed and press enter, and then it would pop up. So, I mean, this isn't like a huge deal for me, but I don't like how you can't customize it. They're pre-categorized. They're put in their own sections. You can't even move them around. And it does just kind of look like you got an app library, which, again, is another thing that I just never use on my iPhone or my iPad. I take the app library icon off of my dock. That's the first thing I always do on the iPad.
Really? That's
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm weird because I consider myself to be a power user to a degree. Like, I'm not the most power user, but I consider myself to be a power
Yeah,
user.
power user for sure.
Yeah. But I love Launchpad. I don't know what it is.
Really?
Man. Yeah, I always liked it. Like, I don't know. It's just like, I use it. Like, I even have a
Fair.
shortcut assigned, like, the little mouse shortcuts that you can use, put the hot corners.
Yeah.
So one of my hot corners is for Launchpad. And I know people ask me that all the time. They're like, you use Launchpad? Like, why don't you just launch your apps with Spotlight? I don't know. I just there's something comforting about it. Same way I use the dock. Like, I have icons in the dock. Technically, that's not necessary.
That's true. Yeah, and like it's not like I'm command space Safari. Like I do just go to the dock and hit Safari or hit Chrome. You know what I mean? I guess in theory you could just use Spotlight for everything and just have a super clean desktop.
For sure. And most power users, I think, do use Spotlight for everything. I'm just weird. Like, so I do really miss Launchpad. Like that was, and Apple probably has the figures to know that no one uses this. It's like probably just a handful of people use it. So
They probably have like user ID 12345, and it's like the one guy that uses like that hotkey on the mouse to open up Launchpad.
yeah, I'm the only person that uses that. So I get why they got rid of it, but it's still like I do miss it. I miss the customization because I used to group everything in like their own folders and stuff. I have all
Yeah.
my video editing stuff in one folder.
Do you have you use a Magic Mouse? That's why, right? Okay.
I already know.
I think the reason why I didn't like Launchpad is because I don't have a Magic Mouse, so I don't have that touch sensitivity. I use like a Logitech mouse and always have. So like to move screens, I just felt it was so unintuitive to have to like press down and like flick my entire mouse to move to the next screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's why. I guess if I had the touchpad on the Magic Mouse or just the trackpad, I could just like swipe over and make it easy to navigate in Launchpad. But that's kind of why I never liked Launchpad. I was like, why would I do this?
Yeah, and like with Launchpad, I'm also weird because I would launch Launchpad and then use like because there's a search bar in Launchpad, and then I would just start type. So it's like, why even do that, dude? Why not just do it from? I don't know. I just like the look of it. I just like it was comforting.
Yeah,
Like it's just familiar, and I've always liked it. So anyway, that's no longer a thing. It's now Spotlight and basically app library, like you said. But there's other things about Spotlight Search. Of course, you can search for all your files, which you could always do. But here you have a lot more power over being able to filter stuff. So you could be like type in a search term, and then you can click on these various filters that they surface, like applications, or you can put in pages if you want a pages document, and it'll surface all those documents for you. So that's pretty nice.
No, I agree. It's definitely got a little bit more granular in terms of like being able to find the exact thing that you want, which I like.
For sure.
And also they added a ton of before we get into the Clipboard manager, I think that's been awesome. It's something that people always brought that up, like, oh, iOS and iPad and macOS needs a Clipboard manager, and I was like, oh, whatever. Like I just copy one thing at a time. But now that I have this Clipboard manager, I was like, okay, I get the hype. I understand why people like having a Clipboard manager.
Yeah, like that's a massive workflow improvement. Like that's one of the very first things I've always done on the Mac. Like I cannot use a Mac without a Clipboard manager, period. Like,
no, I mean, I definitely get it now.
Today's episode of 9 to 5 Mac Overtime is sponsored by Bitwarden, the trusted solution for password, passkey, and secrets management. Bitwarden empowers individuals and businesses to take control of their digital security with the tools that make managing strong, unique credentials simple across all your accounts and devices. Whether you're logging in from the desktop, a web browser, iOS, Android, even Apple Watch and Vision Pro, Bitwarden makes it seamless and easy. With features like enterprise SSO integration, end-to-end encryption, and secure autofill capabilities, Bitwarden helps protect you from phishing attacks and data breaches no matter where you are. And if you've ever abandoned logging into an account simply because you forgot the password, don't fret, you're not alone. According to the Bitwarden World Password Day survey, over 55% of people said that they did the same. And 60% of respondents said that managing a password was between somewhat and extremely stressful. The good news is that Bitwarden helps to solve that and eliminate that stress. They offer options like biometric unlock, secure password sharing, and the ability to create, manage, and autofill credentials, identities, and even payment info across your devices. It even supports password creation, passkeys, and secure sharing, all while maintaining zero-knowledge encryption. Check out the Bitwarden Password Manager by clicking the link down below in the description, or you can just visit bitwarden.com. Special thanks again to Bitwarden for sponsoring 9 to 5 Mac Overtime. You get it?
But I lived without it for so long that I was like, why would anybody just copy one thing at a time? It's no big deal. Just Control C, Control V. But now like being able to have like 6, 7 things just on the ready, you know, and not have to like go back and like, oh, where did I get this from? Oh, okay, you know.
Yeah, but see, the thing is with the macOS implementation, it's a good start. I'll put it that way. But there's definitely way more powerful clipboard managers out there. And I'll talk about some of the features those bring to the table. But like this clipboard manager is cool, but
is it kind of bare bones?
It's bare bones, man.
Yeah,
like,
I guess as somebody who hasn't used one before, you know, you only know what you know. So I was like, oh, this is nice. This works. I guess I got to try some third-party ones because I'm sure you're right. They're, like Apple usually, when they Sherlock something, they do like not the bare minimum, but they do kind of like the entry-level version of whatever the best app in that category will do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this is what they're doing here.
So one thing, this is just notice immediately, is it doesn't copy formatting, like text formatting. It doesn't keep the formatting. So if I copy something that's formatted as with an HTML link in it, then it just forgets that. It doesn't, it just pastes the plain text. So like if I have something like for instance, like on 9 to 5 Mac, whenever we post an article, I put below our YouTube video, like subscribe link, and it's formatted with the actual link in there. So I have that saved to a basically in my Clipboard manager, and I just hit the button and then it pastes that pre-formatted, even italicized everything, ready to go.
Oh, and this one doesn't
do any of that. Now, if I paste it, it just says subscribe to 95 Mac in plain text. There's no link, nothing, no italicized.
Oh, no link embed.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Okay.
Yeah. So with this, they don't preserve like markup at all. Which, I mean, for the first iteration, it's not a huge deal, but it's just something that I noticed. And there's other things as well. There's a lot of other things, but we won't get into all those. But yeah,
the only other one is there's a limit to how long it holds on to that copy, right? Like a time limit.
I believe so. Yeah, there has to be, because I'm looking at my clipboard now, it's empty. And I know good and well I've copied stuff. So I don't know, maybe I deleted them, but I'm pretty sure it only keeps it for a period of time. And also, when you're searching, like it doesn't, if you copy an image, because it does actually allow you to copy images.
Yeah.
But somehow, like when you're doing a search, it doesn't search certain items. So if you type in the search terms, like if you have a list of items that you copy and you want to filter those, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't filter everything properly. And I can't remember exactly what it doesn't filter right, but I know for sure it doesn't because I tested it.
Interesting.
So that's another thing. Also, it would be cool if there was keyboard shortcuts assigned to these, but see what Apple has done, like unlike Alfred would assign like a command 1, command 2 in order for each of the keyboard shortcuts. There's no shortcuts there.
Yeah, so you have to like go into the clipboard manager every time, right?
Yeah, and it's not a huge deal. There's other little things too, man. Like, I think even if so this is weird. So if you select one of the clipboard items and copy it, it basically puts that item back to the top of the list because I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Which kind of is, it's not super intuitive. You would think that you would not need it anymore if you already pasted it.
Right.
So bring it to the bottom. So I guess, there's a lot of little things, right? We're in beta. Okay. We're in beta 2, guys. We're in beta 2.
Yeah. And I'm not going to sit here and harp on this too much longer, but there is one shout out I want to give to, obviously Alfred's a great like spotlight replacement, has built-in clipboard management, stuff like that. There's a lot of clipboard managers out there. One of the best ones is from the folks that made Tweetbot. Remember Tweetbot?
Yeah, I remember Tweetbot.
Yeah. So it's called Pastebot. And it's a Mac app, and it is awesome because...
Really?
Oh, man. It's... All right, so have you ever wanted to... This is super niche and like super power user. Yeah. But have you ever wanted to copy multiple items? So you had 30 items, and you wanted to copy them, but in a specific order. You want to copy them and paste them, but in a specific order.
Okay.
So maybe you have a list of things, but you don't want to copy them just with the whole list and then move it over. You want to pick out certain things and then paste them over in a specific order. Well, Pastebot lets you do that. So if you copy one by one, it puts it in a queue.
Okay.
And then you can paste everything in the queue in the order that you copied it. I know it's kind of doesn't really make a lot of sense the way I'm explaining it, but that's super powerful.
For anything? Like, are we talking text, like just normal text that you're copying? Or are we talking about like files that you're copying?
Anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's especially helpful for text.
Yeah, like a bulleted list or something that you're trying to put together. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's been times, like, for instance, I'm trying to think, like even just making videos, and like especially videos that are the longer type where you have a whole bunch of like little captions.
Yeah.
And you need those in a specific order. Man, I can't tell you how many times I've used that, and it's super helpful. But again, it's super niche. But
that is a niche one. I'm not gonna lie to you.
So I guess I am a power user. Shout out to Pastebot. Shout out to Pastebot.
There you go, Pastebot. I guess people still need a third party one. Jump on that one first. See what they're doing.
So this is let me just talk about a couple more macOS features, and then
hit me with it.
We'll get on the go here. So, okay. So there's a new folder animation when you dump items into the folders. I don't know if you noticed that, but there's a cute little folder animation.
Yeah. You're right.
So I like that.
It kind of opens up.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. It's a little whimsical. I appreciate that. It's kind of an old school Apple thing.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another thing that some people really are up in arms about, or up in hands about, I should say. The new hand style. Have you noticed that? The Mickey Mouse gloves are gone. The Mickey Mouse gloves are gone. So,
what does that mean?
Most people probably won't even realize this, but like when you put your hand over or your mouse over a link, now it's just a white hand. Oh man! See, now it's zoom in.
That's the ObsBot.
Yeah, shout out ObsBot. How do I get this back though? Let's see, medium. There we go. Yeah.
You look clear though. That's what you're using right now?
Yeah.
Dang, I have mine. I'm not using mine right now. I'm using my iPhone, but I have it up. What is up? Because you look clear.
Well, thank you.
Okay, I'm trying to. Oh, the okay. So like, if you put your mouse over like an image or something, you try to grab it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or a link or anything where it turns into the white hand.
Yes. And right now it's like pointing like, oh yeah, you were doing that.
So yeah,
it's doing one of these.
But the pointer is now just a white hand, whereas before it was a glove. It was like a Mickey Mouse glove. You remember, the gloves?
I know you, and then it would literally like grab it, right?
Yeah, and it still does that, but there's no little, the gloves with the little lines, the two little lines, the Mickey Mouse glove. Most people probably think I'm crazy talking about this, but that it is no longer there, man. It's the little things, man. Like those are that's why this video is so long, first of all, because it's like I point out all these little things. But all right, so there's also updated folder colors.
Mm-hmm.
So you can, which is not technically new. Like you could do that in macOS before, but now you can easily assign a color to a folder, or basically it's a basically system-wide thing. So if you assign red to your folders, all the folders are going to be red, right?
But you could also do it individually, right? Yeah, you've always been able to do it individually.
Yeah, so you can do it individually. However, the individual is basically making a tag. So it's like overlapping. Oh. So it's a tag. It's kind of weird the way it's implemented. But then you also have the ability to add an icon to the folder or an emoji to a folder as well. So, yeah.
Okay. No, because I noticed that you can definitely do that. You can do that on iPadOS too now, which is nice. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know that you could do like a system-wide, just like for fun, change the colors without needing to actually tag them. And I didn't realize that if you do it individually, it does tag it as like a red folder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they actually appear as tags. Whereas if you just do the system-wide thing, they're not a tag technically.
Okay.
So here's another thing. Live activities. This is a pretty cool thing. Like to have live activities in your menu bar. So I use a Vitruvian, which is a like a trainer, like a workout machine. Shout out to Colin Jenkins, by the way. I'm supposed to be meeting him today. He's in Louisville. So
nice, Colin.
connect the watts. But he got me onto Vitruvian, which is like this little, I don't know how to describe it, but it's basically like I don't know. It's just like
Is it the one with the mat on the floor, or like the base?
it's a
Or no?
base. Like it's like a heavy little base with two little connection points, and you stick like
A bar, right?
like a barbell. You could do like a bench press, and it's like I'm talking about 400 pounds.
That's why you're looking yoked over there. That's why that neck is looking thicker.
Hilarious. But yeah. But the Vitruvian has live activities.
Okay.
So you can see like your workout progress right there. I mean, it just appears, and it uses the whole iPhone mirroring system to make that all work. And then
That's
if
cool.
you click on it, it will open up the app, the respective app, on your Mac via iPhone mirroring. Apple's ecosystem is insane, dude.
That's
Like,
wild.
It's
right?
insane. Like there's no other company doing stuff to
Nobody
this
else.
degree of integration across all their platforms and all their like hardware.
Everything's so interconnected. It's insane.
And it
Because I
gets
did
more and more.
I noticed that live activity thing the other day, because I also have, like with my Ultra Human Ring, right? There's a live activity. I don't follow it all the time, but there's like your open caffeine window. Like this is when you should start having caffeine. I don't really know how it gets that information or whatever, but I noticed that there was something in my toolbar that looked like an Ultra Human thing, and it was a live activity. And I was like, whoa, when did this start happening? Yeah. And then, you click on it, it opens up your phone, you get your little caffeine window, your timer goes down. And then, I don't listen to it because I've been sipping on caffeine all morning already, but it's cool to know that it's all just like interconnected. You don't have to do anything. It's literally you open up macOS. If you have a live activity that works on your iOS device, it'll just show up on your menu bar, which is cool.
Nice. Yeah. So there's all sorts of other things on that same note. There's the phone app now that comes to the Mac.
Random
cool.
edition, but I'll take it.
Yeah. Image playgrounds get the same upgrades from iOS, as do a lot of the photos updates, messages updates, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There is the journal app, which is on the Mac now, which is nice. That's
True.
That's a good thing. Like, yeah, long time coming. And the games app, yeah. So I mean, by and large, it's a pretty good update. However, do not update until
Hold off
on your main
bit.
machine. Do not update on your main machine yet because it's still beta. But
I do have one more thought when it comes to just the whole 26 update, and I guess it makes sense because they're naming everything with a 26 ending. Everything just seems a lot more one-to-one. Like it's a lot more uniform. Like now, like you said, you have the journals app, the new games app, all the different applications now. They kind of like look and feel the same across all your three main devices. So they're all kind of just like coming together little by little, I think.
Sure.
And it's just cool how it all just works together. And it's just, the ecosystem is just getting stronger and stronger, which is wild.
Yeah. So, shout out to Apple and the macOS team. Did a great job. Looking forward to the refinements that they make. And
Are you on a desktop or a laptop right now?
I'm on a laptop.
Okay.
But
Have you taken it on the
it's-
go at all or no?
Not really. No.
Okay.
Not recently. But so I have it connected to my Asus 5K display.
Yeah.
So I'm just
So you haven't
using
really played with battery life yet, right?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not.
Don't play with it yet. Cool.
Yeah. So again, folks, thank you for watching. Thanks to all the subscribers. Be sure, if you haven't yet, to subscribe on YouTube and subscribe on Apple Podcasts as well. And we will catch you in the next episode.
Thanks, everybody. Peace.